On today's show, Volvo provides a glimpse of its next EV, what renewable technology can look like, and Tesla Model Y could hit our streets sooner. G'day, my name's Chris and I cover from an Australian perspective technologies like EVs, wind, solar, battery storage and more. If you're new to the channel, thanks for coming along, really do appreciate it. Returning viewer, consider subscribing, it does help the channel. And if you want to support at the next level, consider joining me over here on Patreon, where you get early access to news, polls, behind the scenes and stuff that you just don't get here, all from as little as $2.50 per month. Big thank you to my producers, Adam Tyson, Alan Byrne, Ashley Hill, Chaotic Media Technology, MN ICT Specialist, Nigel Farrier, and Tessa and the Gong. One of the reasons for these news episodes is to inform viewers on how to decrease our environmental impact through technology. And to some people, that means renewables, EVs, and more equates to being boring, going backward, and not having nice things. But the reality is that you can still have your toys, get around and do some things like paramotor flying, powered by renewable energy. Sasha Dent, UN Ambassador for the Convention of Migratory Species and founder of charity Conservation Without Borders, took to the skies last week in Scotland and will fly anti-clockwise around the UK in her electric paramotor. Her aim is to be the first person to do so using renewable power, and in the process will set the fastest electric paramotor flight in Britain. Ms. Dent's aim is to meet people who are working hard to tackle the climate crisis, share their stories and solutions, and in the process raise awareness of how everyone can do their bit. Ms. Dent says it best.
Whilst our individual actions may seem small, when we act together, we can really make great change happen for people and the planet.
I think this is a fantastic initiative. You can track her progress using the link below, and if you do live in the UK, please do consider catching up with her and let me know perhaps if you want to share a story that I can put it on a future episode. Time for a quick round of bites. The London Electric Vehicle Company, makers of these funky London-style cabs, revealed last week its first impressions of its new leisure vehicle, the e-Camper. Pretty cool, huh? Based upon the VN5, this plug-in hybrid e-Camper can do about 100 kilometers on pure EV mode, with an engine adding obviously a bit more range. Can't it just be pure electric like the cabs? This e-Camper can sleep up to 4 and comes complete with an integrated electric kitchenette, pop-up roof and a central folding table. In addition, the camper van includes a second row bench seat which folds into a second double bed. Out later this year for my UK friends, details below, and will cost roughly £62,000 to £73,000 depending upon specifications. As you may be aware, in China, Tesla actually uses Contemporary Amperex Technology Limited batteries, which had a short-term agreement with them to June 2022. But in a signal that Tesla is happy with CATL's offering, they've extended that contract by an additional 30 months to 2025. Whilst there was no detail on the exact volume of lithium batteries that will be supplied to Tesla under this new deal, this is confirmation yet again that Tesla rather smartly minimizes its risk by using various battery suppliers such as Panasonic, LG Chem, CATL, and in future, their own in-house battery cell. Chargefox, Australia's largest and fastest growing public electric vehicle charging network, has announced that it will add over 4,000 plugs to its network by the end of 2025. That will mean the charging network will have more than 5,000 plugs. Impressive for such a company. This announcement by Chargefox follows on the heels of New South Wales and Victorian government commitment to supporting EV adoption and charging infrastructure, which will translate to less plug anxiety, decreased wait times due to more rapid chargers being available, and comfort knowing that Chargefox will use users' renewable power to fill your EV. Queensland viewers, it's time for you to have your say about your state's EV future. There are two things you can do: either complete an online survey, link is below, or write a submission and email to this address by 11 PM July 9. My hope is that Queensland will follow Victoria and New South Wales and offer incentives to get more people into EVs, support EV charging infrastructure and create sustainable jobs, and obviously associated industries. Please check out all the links below in the show notes. Volvo has released details of its EV design language, the concept recharge. Returning to their Scandinavian design philosophy, Volvo wants the concept recharge to have at its core less but better. Okay, but from what I see, I like it. It's an SUV that looks great and I wish they would actually bring it to market. But sadly, no. It's a project to show the world what Volvo thinks its EVs will look like moving forwards. Here's some details. With no engine, just electric motors and battery, interior space is increased. Suicide doors mean entry to that perfectly flat floor will be a breeze. The traditional grille has been replaced with a shield-like structure, supported by a new interpretation of Volvo cars' Thor hammer headlight design, which open at night to reveal the main lamp units. Signature vertical rear lamps connect to the brand's strong design heritage, but are reimagined with a set of wings that extend at higher cruising speeds to further improve overall aerodynamics. A large 15-inch touchscreen for infotainment and car controls, and I really love the concept recharge clean lines and its use of sustainable and natural materials inside the cabin. Again, this is just a concept and won't enter production, but I gotta say, Volvo, do think about this because everyone I've spoken to loves it and they would actually like to buy it. Okay, time for a little bit of fun, and my final story today is about speculating when Model Y will be available in Australia and New Zealand. Why? Because there are numerous signs that Tesla's production and delivery capacity is reaching a point which will mean Shanghai Giga can actually start right-hand drive variants of Model Y for deliveries in September this year. Here is my evidence. Last week, residents in Hong Kong can now actually order a Model Y Standard Range Plus, Standard Range Plus, which my American colleagues can't get at the moment, and deliveries are expected in September this year. Tesla announced a record quarter with more than 200,000 deliveries. Additionally, Model Y wait time in China is just 1 to 3 weeks. I'm guessing that Australia and New Zealand will be able to order the Model Y soon with deliveries as early as September, but realistically, most likely October through December this year. As for price, the Hong Kong dollar to Aussie dollar puts this at the high 70s, whereas the Chinese price is in the low 70s. Given our import taxes, current Model 3 pricing, and price differentials seen overseas, that is, compare Model 3 versus Model Y price differences, typically at least $5,000 US, I'm going to speculate that Model Y will come in close to $80,000 in Australia. Best price, high 70s. But as luxury car tax sits in that space and the long-range Model 3 is $83,000, I think it's very unlikely. So what do you think? Does this news give you hope that we'll see the Model Y here sooner than later? Put your comment down below as to when you think it might arrive and at what price. Okay, well that wraps it up for another news episode. If you did enjoy it, please consider subscribing. It does help the channel. If you want to support us at the next level, join us over here somewhere on Patreon, where you get early access to news, polls, behind the scenes, and content you just don't get here. From as little as $2.50 per month, that's 60 cents per week, you get all this and a lot more. Once again, a big thank you to my producers, and otherwise, you be good and you be green.